Did you know that if you wear 2 pieces of Aurora gear, you can actually see the sneaky creepers in the deep caverns? You can see the particles around them. Well, that is tip number 1, and we're going over 25 different tips for maxing different bestiaries on Hypixel SkyBlock. So if you guys enjoy or learn something, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's jump into it. Tip number 2, one of the easiest bestiaries to max is actually on the barn. All of these mobs max out at 200 kills. So if you just go around with a Spirit Scepter, a Hyperion, you can get rid of them super easily, and they respawn super quickly. So you can probably max out each one of these in 5 minutes. There's a lot of bestiaries on your private island, including slime, but you can actually only spawn slimes if your Y level is below 30. So make sure when you build your platforms on your island to grind bestiary to build it below Y level 30. Otherwise, slimes will not spawn. Tip number 4 is more of a suggestion, but try to save your Slayer spawning bestiaries for when you're actually grinding the Slayer. It wouldn't really make sense to max out Crypt School bestiary before you start grinding Revenant Horror. So if you're working on these bestiaries, make sure to be spawning in the Slayer boss as well. So that goes for zombie mobs, spider mobs, wolf mobs, enderman mobs, and blaze mobs at the moment. Tip number 5, try to maximize your time. A lot of people will just grind zealot bestiaries instead of also making sure they're killing watchers and endermites and obby defenders whenever they're grinding zealots. So make sure if you're grinding zealots or other mobs that have different families close to them, make sure to grind all the families that you can. That way you don't have to come back to the same island multiple times because it gets annoying. Tip number 6, try to find a lobby where there's not many people. This lobby that I'm in right now, if you press tab, you can see how many people are here. There's 22 people here, so that can be okay if there's not a lot of people grinding zealots, but you can see there's already 2 people in my point of view here, and I've seen somebody else running around. So this lobby I might can handle just because I'm the highest level here, but if you're lower level, you'll want to try to find a lobby with less people or even no people grinding whatever mob you are trying to grind. Tip number 7, try and get into a party whenever you're grinding mobs that you can't one-shot, like Hell with. These guys have 5 million HP, there's no shot on one-shotting them, but you can actually loot share bestiary. So if I have somebody else grinding same mobs with me, if we both damage it, it doesn't matter who kills it, we'll both get points towards our bestiary milestone. So play with friends. Now, currently as it stands, loot sharing bestiary only goes up to 6 players, so the person that killed it plus 5 other people that dealt the most damage, but this goes for fishing bestiaries as well. So with fishing bestiaries, it's also best to fish with a party, just so that I'm not the only person getting all of the bestiary, especially the rare ones like Yetis or even Sea Emperors or Water Hydras. I'll be getting more bestiary because I won't be the only person spawning rare mobs, plus everyone else will be getting bestiary because they won't be the only people spawning. So try and get into parties of 6 players, including yourself. If you go above that, there will be one person, whoever's dealing the least amount of damage, who's missing out. It's also best to have your bobbers close together. So if I'm fishing here, then it's good to have somebody else fishing maybe here, someone else here, and just spread out around this area so that whenever one of us catches a mob, we can all be left clicking here with our fishing rods and not have to pull back the bobber every time someone catches a little mob like a squid or a sea guardian. So this way I'm still clicking on the mob, so I'll still get the loot share bestiary before the person that spawned it kills it, but I also don't have to stop fishing and lose time on that. So it's a win-win. Now with lava fishing, again, you do want to have a party, but you don't want to be, one of the main strategies with a party will be to fish at one of these higher locations and then let the mobs fall down as you catch them. But if you one-shot all the mobs, then you're the only one getting bestiary on it besides the person that spawned it. So not good. So you want to have a low damage, high radius weapon, preferably a Spirit Scepter, so that whenever I spawn a mob, I can just deal damage to it and then let everybody else deal damage to it without it getting one shot. Now another thing to help it not get one shot is to use a Totem of Corruption. So if I have a Totem of Corruption down, it'll increase its health. So right now you see it was at 1 mil health, but since it got close to the sulfur block, it goes up to 3 mil, and the sulfur blocks have the same effect as the Totem of Corruption. So it increases the health of the mob and makes it a lot easier to avoid one-shotting. Although those Totem of Corruption can be a big pain, especially if you spawn in some higher level mobs. So Totem of Corruption, mainly good for being used on water fishing. As far as lava fishing goes, as long as you have a Spirit Scepter and can avoid one-shotting the mob, you should be okay. While we're on the Crimson Isle, let's go over tip number 10, which is claim your combat XP while you're on the Crimson Isle. If you do /BE, you can see your Bestiary milestone down here, and every milestone after a certain point, you'll be getting 1 million combat experience for every 5 milestones. Now, you want to make sure you're claiming this XP on the Crimson Isle, because that is the only place where your Kudra pet will gain experience. So this is the best way to max out your Kudra pet. No matter what other pet you're choosing to level, the Kudra pet will gain XP even if you don't have it equipped, but that's only on the Crimson Isle, so make sure you claim your XP on the Crimson Isle. Tip number 11, whenever you are grinding Bestiary on the Dwarven Mine, whether it's Treasure Hoarder, Ghosts, Goblins, etc., make sure to have your Heart of the Mountain tree with Luck of the Cave equipped. You can increase the chances for rare occurrences to happen in the Dwarven Mine by a percentage based on what level you have this at, and one of those rare occurrences is Powder Gas. So this will make the Powder Gas Bestiary much easier to grind. Tip number 12, wait until Diana is mayor to grind mobs with expensive rare pet drops like Enderman with 9,000 health or Skaithas, because one of Diana's perk gives extra pet luck. Now, currently, Diana is missing this perk in the election that we have going on right now. She only has Mythological Ritual and the pet XP buff, which is still very good, but her third buff that she can have increases your pet luck by a ton. So the higher your pet luck is, the better chance you have of dropping a rare pet. So make sure to only grind Skaithas whenever she is active, because you'll have a much higher chance of getting a multi-million-dollar pet. Now, this next tip is based on Kudras and the Catacomb, which don't actually require you to kill anything. All you have to do is be in the party. If you're a tank in the Catacombs, or if you're a specialist in Kudra, as long as somebody is killing the mobs in the run, you are getting Bestiary for it. So you don't have to worry about fighting over kills anymore. Everybody gets Bestiary as long as you're in the run. Tip number 14 is another fishing trick. Some creatures can only be caught at specific locations, like the ones in the Crystal Hollows or the ones at the Oasis on the desert. So make sure to fish at these locations instead of at Spider's Den or something like that that doesn't have specific location spawning mob. Another tip for Kudra, you can actually kill the dropships, and they do have their own Bestiary. You have to kill 300 of them in total to max it out, but an easy way to max it is to have somebody go on the Cannoneer route in Kudra and mainly focus on the multi-shot and rapid fire perk, and you'll be able to defeat these dropships easily. Of course, grinding a lot of these Bestiaries, easy one can be grinded out on basic tiers, but if you're a Chad and you can handle it, Infernal tier gives the best rewards at the end of the run, of course. If you're fishing for Flag Blasts here in the Flag Blast pool, make sure that you have a squid hat equipped. It will give you an extra chance to fish up a Flag Blast. It actually doubles the chance. So if you're going for Flag Blast Bestiary, make sure you're wearing one of these. You can find them in Ink Sac collection. They're the first craft. All you need is 8 ink sac. There are 2 strategies for grinding out the Golden Goblin Bestiary. Now, you only need 400 of these kills, but strategy number 1 is wearing mineral gear and using a stonk or some other tool to just go crazy here on the bridge, and every now and then you'll spawn in a Golden Goblin. Of course, to help with this, Luck of the Cave. Also, Sky Mall is a big one because it has a chance to proc 10 times the chance to find goblins while mining. So right now I have the 100 mining speed, but if you want to do this one for free, maybe grind out Goblin Bestiary or Ghost Bestiary, and then whenever you get that ability on your Sky Mall perk, make sure to come up here, grind on the bridge, and you'll have a 10 times chance to spawn in Golden Goblins when you're mining. Or if you don't want to do any of that, you can just buy Golden Goblin eggs and spam them until you spawn one in, and then you kill that one, and then you spam them until you spawn them another one in, and then you kill that one and the next one, and that's a really easy way to do it as well. But each one of those eggs is going to cost 30,000 coins, so that's only if you're pretty rich or you just have a bunch of money to throw away. Now for Battle, the best way to do this is with some terror armor so that your bow shots will increase with dominance, and to also use a hurricane bow. Now with 250 kills, you can get up to 5 shots on this, plus with the terror armor, you can get some extra arrows. And the way Bao works is it matters how many arrows you hit him with. He has 200 HP. Each hit, no matter what it's from, does 1 damage, so the more damage you can deal, the better. Plus his hitbox is mainly on the lowest side of his body, so that's also a good thing to aim for. And there we go, Bal level 1. Now, whenever you find a key guardian, it's also good to try and find Bal. You can build a tunnel in between them so that while Bal is dead, I can be running over to wherever the key guardian spawn is. And then after I kill the key guardian, I can run back to Bal, just swapping off between those two fights. So I'm constantly grinding out one of the boss bestiaries at all times. Another tip, make sure to use the event baits for fishing. So when it's Spooky Festival, spooky bait to increase your chance to catch spooky sea creatures. When it's Fishing Festival, use shark bait, chance to catch shark. And then whenever it's Jerry's Island, make sure to use snow bait to increase your chance to catch winter island sea creatures. Now, if you run out of those bestiaries, like you've maxed them already, or there's not an event on and you feel like fishing, try and use carrot baits to increase your chances to catch carrot king. Carrot kings can only be caught when you're using carrot bait, and you need 400 of them to max them out. Plus, they have a chance to drop lucky clover cores, which do sell for a pretty penny right now. Another dungeons tip, terracottas have a bestiary. These are the guys on floor 6, but sleeping golems, which are also in the floor 6 boss fight, do not have a bestiary. So try to avoid spawning or aggroing the sleeping golem before the terracotta stop spawning, because when you kill a sleeping golem, it increases Satan's interest level, and once his interest level is maxed, terracottas won't spawn anymore. So to make sure his interest level increases as slow as possible, try to make sure you're killing only the terracottas so you can get more terracotta kills towards your bestiary instead of wasting your energy on the sleeping golems. Another thing that people like to miss in dungeons are King Midas kills. If you spawn in King Midas, he's a yellow room mob. Once you spawn him in, you get the check mark for the room. The room is cleared, but you don't actually get the bestiary until you've actually killed King Midas. So make sure you kill King Midas and don't just spawn him in. Now this tip is for the Crimson Isle, so if you're just grinding any mob on the Crimson Isle, say magma cubes, don't just grind out that mob. Make sure that you are dealing at least 1 million damage to each one of the boss mobs as well, so that you'll get bestiary for those guys as well as the loot drops. If you deal any damage, you should get the bestiary, but if you deal a mil or more, then you'll actually get the loot drop. But you don't have to actually kill the boss. You can just go around to each one, deal 1 million damage, and then you'll be notified whenever somebody else kills. Now the issue is Mage Outlaw is a little tough to do this on, but if you die, it's not really that big of a deal. But Mage Outlaw, Blade Soul, even Ash Fang. Ash Fang is one of the tougher bestiaries to max, so just in case a party comes in and starts grinding it without you knowing, make sure to come in and at least get one of these Ash Fang followers, follow you, and get it into a vortex, and make sure that you hit the orb into Ash Fang so you get your damage done. But yeah, all the mobs, so Blade Soul, Mage Outlaw, the Duke, Ash Fang, and the magma boss, make sure to deal 1 million damage to each of those before you go back to grinding whatever boss you were doing or whatever mob you were doing. So you're also getting for the bestiary for the boss mobs passively. All right, we're on to tip 25, our last tip. Ghasts spawn on the Crimson Isle at night, but they can be a very big pain if you don't have one of these, the netherrack looking sunshade. They give you invisibility to dive gas, so dive gas dive down and try to kill you, but that netherrack looking sunshade is dropped from these smoldering blazes. Try to get one of those if you can. Somewhat rare drop, but if you can handle grinding those out until you at least get one of those, dive gas bestiary will be a lot easier, or the gas bestiary period will be a lot easier. As you can see, dive gas and regular gas are both same family of gas, but dive gas have like half the health, so make sure to focus on the dive gas if you can. All right, that is everything for our guide today. I hope that you learned at least one of these tips and tricks to help you out with your bestiary grind, and if you did, be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're getting close to 6K subs. We are going to be doing guild interviews on August 27th at 2 p.m. Celebrate us hitting 5K subs. If you guys want to tune in right here on this YouTube channel, we'll be live streaming it. And yeah, thanks for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.